All-Star Tower Defense is an anime tower defense where you pretty much just sit around and do nothing productive other than completing a level. It's just a tower defense game holding on a tower defense trend with the side of it as an anime theme to think that the game would have been very fun. Well, it isn't. So, welcome to my review, and I'll journey you through this monotonous gameplay.
STD? Who in their right mind would name their game company STD?
For the lobby, it looks really great. The theme of this build is pretty much just a homage from the original show, Dragon Ball. I personally don't watch a lot of anime as I'm not a hardcore anime fan watcher. Trust me, my only source of entertainment comes from Western media. Though, let's just get back to the topic. It's not I'm gonna be able to point out most of the things when I was serious. The game also includes the loot box gacha mechanic, which you can pay for diamonds in order to pull for one of your favorite characters that is currently shown on the screen. It refreshes daily so you can get a chance for your favorite waifu or husbando. It doesn't really follow like every corporation gacha game where you will have a rate up just to gain more profit. Instead, the game just kinda let the system automate itself every hour because the dev couldn't care enough to give rate up for certain characters. Though you have a pity for 60 pulls, which is quite generous. There are some general shops that you can fish at like emote store where you can pretty much just do an emote in case if you're bored doing nothing during in-game, which I'll talk about later. There's also a place where you can teleport where you get diamonds for basically doing nothing, which technically used to farm for Robux for premium users.
Oh shit.
And then there's orbs. They're basically trinkets for your units. It unlocks their abilities or make them insanely strong. And then there's infinite mode, story mode, and Serpent way, which used to be called trial mode. But before we talk about those two, let's talk about story mode. So, story mode. What's a story? Nothing. Yep, you heard me right, nothing. There's not a single story here to be told despite the title says story mode. It's stupid, I know. Wanna call it a campaign mode rather than story mode? Would it be more fitting due to the game not having story mode? Right, so there are 21 levels in this world, though most of them are locked and I don't want to invest a lot of time playing this game, which I will talk about. So, how's the gameplay? Well, it's the same as every generic tower defense game, but worse. The strategy in this game felt non-existent. One of the causes I would say is due to imbalanced capture of All-Star Tower Defense. Like, for example, Conan from Naruto, which has insane range and has around 400 damage. This is just Conan Awakener, by the way. Which is pretty broken technically since most of the enemies have like 40 or 50 HP. And the funny thing is that you can deploy her during first wave, which makes Conan to be one of the most must-have units in All-Star Tower Defense. Though they are a catcher that has even more impressive feats than Conan, but I'm not here to compare the characters, I'm just here to show you how unbalanced the game is. In our tower defense game, you don't just throw that in, you have to start from the beginning whether you want to farm or defend the front lines. It's a simple concept, start from the weak to become stronger at the end.
Due to the lack of strategy, all the units here felt samey. They all felt like they had one purpose, just shoot. One that has small range, one that does AoE, one that does whatever description they have. Nothing really makes them any difference as long as the unit does insane of damage, or maybe an unit that has good damage and is also pretty fast, and if you have that, you're good to go. You don't need any of this. A perfect example of a tower defense is when you need so many catchers to cram is Fortnite. All the catchers felt relatively different. Some of them may have the same abilities, but one of the mechanics that you may not realize is the cost of deployment. Having a high rarity unit means handicapping yourself if you are not careful. You can't just throw everything on site if one of your unit dies. You won't get your deployment points back, you have to pick the right unit to be able to clear a stage. I know it's kinda unfair comparing a mobile game company to an indie Roblox dev, but I'm just giving them an example how they could try and make a spin. And so far, all the units in this game felt like they were given no thoughts to it. It's just like, hey, a character, we made the character just like from the show and that's it. No way to make them very interesting. There's no synergy to make any difference. All of them just like, oh, enemy, 2000 damage. In this game, it just chose whatever strongest unit in this game and calls it a day, which is also why there's so many stages in this game.
The further stage you progress, the enemy will have more health, making the stage even more tougher, which is why most of these units are so insanely strong to begin with. As if the developer didn't want to make variety or something to make it balanced. Instead, they just throw it out and give enemies more HP and hoping that it's gonna solve the problem, which is the problem that we're seeing right now. It's lazy, uninspiring, not to mention the enemies in this game are also bare bones. They're not as unique as other tower defense, they just have this overlays text above their heads stating what kind of contingency these enemies have, but they do not feel like contingency since most of these enemies are predictable as heck. For example, Decelerator, which enemies can just zoom past your defense, then Strong, which are immune against that isn't upgraded, basically ghosts, and then Strong 2, which are basically the same except 2 times, and then Cloner, which isn't a problem to begin with, and then Air, which is another ghost. The only thing you should fear is their HP, since that's the only threatening thing you should worry about. There are only 15 waves per stages, all 6 levels are the same other than enemies having different outfits, all the bosses are the same, and they don't really provide any difficulty whatsoever other than just, oh hey, I'm a big guy that literally served no purpose.
Me pregunto qué me dirías si pudieras hablar.
When I met you in the summer.
To make it worse, this game is the most sluggish tower defense I ever played. It felt like the time was so slow as if I were playing Shenmue to begin with, especially when the game doesn't force you to use a brain. It's no brainer. Your units level up when you complete a level, which makes them stronger over time. The level in this game doesn't really work like other leveling game. There is an evolve system in this game which allows you to evolve your unit to a certain unit, and it doesn't matter what level your unit is, which is pretty good since nobody wants to repeat the same boring levels anyway, except for ingredients which are essential to evolve your waifu or husbando. Wait, Saber has a new upgrade? I need Iron Core 4 and EXP 4? Oh my god, wait here, I'm coming. There's also infinite mode which you can grind for an EXP material or unit, which you can actually use by the way. And I don't think there are other games that allows you to use EXP material as a unit. And the funny thing is that the EXP 4 is actually made up for newbies since noobs can just farm from infinite mode. And then Serpent Way, which for some reason has a story in this mode rather than the actual story mode. What do I call this story mode then? What is it for? You basically complete the trial to get a unit which you can't get from anywhere else, which is nice. Oh, by the way, the boss in this mode also attacks, not your unit but your defense, which forces you to defeat the boss as soon as possible. To be fair, I had more fun in trial mode rather than story mode because that mode is a sleeper. Now, what I don't like here is that when you look up the inventory, you can't really see what the unit does. All it does tell you is their stats and that's it. It doesn't tell you what can they do. You have to look it up on the website to figure it out. It's annoying. In TDS, Minigunner is a Minigunner. Simple as that. And also tower defense, if you're new, you probably don't know most of these characters do. Yeah, it's that confusing. So, what are the verdicts on this game? To be fair, the unit in this game is actually pretty cool. Some of them though. There's this unit Suzaku from Code Geass. You can control the whole mechas, which is goddamn cool. And you can attack with it and go whenever you want. Though you can't fly for some reason, obviously. But that's just dang cool. And then Sasuke 6-star, which has this giant purple aura that can hit any types of enemies, which is insane. And that's the only good part about this game, while the game itself just felt like placeholders. It's sad. If one thing I could think about this game is, I would say why not have defend the statue and have all this stuff in the game. If you don't know what defend the statue is, this gameplay summarizes it. Yeah, imagine that, but in anime, and you control the whole thing. Well, if also tower defense game is boring, then how there's so many players? Does it make my review a blunder? Not really. I can tell you why people love that game. The reason why kids enjoy this type of game is because it's easy. It's anime. Wow, it's anime. My favorite anime does this. kids wants to own the coolest anime character and become the strongest and live in their power fantasy while being completely oblivious to the gameplay. Nobody does story mode unless they're grinding for materials or diamonds, and the only fun thing about this game is the infinite mode. Player wants to reach as far as they can with all these cool characters that can do 1 million damage. There's a reason why there's a character with Gilgamesh from Fate, which he does generate insane amount of damage. The dopamine comes from there. We want more, we want to be stronger, and we want to be OP. The moment when I see that you can upgrade Saber, my dopamine gets frenzied, and I immediately hurry to obtain one of my favorite units from my favorite anime shows. It's kind of like how players continue to play this type of game, because you know, we like collecting, and you just wanna have it. So yeah. Kids are gullible. They want whatever coolest thing or thing that does ton of damage in their inventory, or they just wanna get their favorite waifu or husbando. So, what's my score in this game? 4 out of 10. I'm not gullible and never will. Sorry kids, sometimes the truth hurts.
What?
I know that sounds bad.
Despite all these cool visuals and cool mechanics, at the end of the day, the gameplay is still backed down by the lazy game design. And the funny thing is that I think I had more fun collecting the units rather than playing the actual game itself. Look, I just got Saber too. Thank you guys so much for watching this video and making it to the end. It's been a while since I've made this video. If you happen to know me, I'm from the old channel, which I'm actually retiring from the channel as the audience are very different from what they used to. And second is the monetary, which I'm permanently self-locked from that channel and it sucks. Thanks YouTube. Will I continue to cover more topics and drama? I hope, if there's actually a good one. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this video has been very entertaining. Leave a like, comment down below, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out. And I'll see you guys in the next video.